Indiana Farms.
Our family has been with Indiana Farmers Mutual for 3 generations, and we've been well pleased with the service.
See the yellow pages for our independent agent nearest you.
To Jim Peck, who had 5 business lunches in 3 days, Republic Airlines awards the first-class upgrade perk.
I've earned it.
To Denise Cresta, who had to preview 400 patterns of plaid, Republic awards the executive suite perk.
I've earned it.
And to Ron Barry, who had to be in 3 cities at the same time, Republic awards a free trip after only 20,000 miles. He's earned it.
We make you feel like flying.
Once again, let's go back across the floor to Ivan Woolman for the introduction of the teams in our second game of the Semi-State.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here are your lineups for the Newcastle Trojans. Number 10, Todd Garrison. Number 30, Alan Garvin. Number 44, Brad Sidwell. Number 34, Mike Stein. Number 52, Jeff Stone. Number 14, Jason Haynes. Number 42, Rodney Scott. Starting at a forward, number 40, Nathan Milliken. At the other forward, number 20, Joel Thurman. At center, number 50, Don Bausman. At a guard, number 32, William Cody. And at the other guard, number 22, Rodney Haynes. And their coach, Sam Alford. For the Shelbyville Golden Bears, number 15, Jason Heaton. Number 20, Jed Pence. Number 22, John David Lux. Number 30, Theodore Holloway. Number 50, Darren Bernard. Number 52, Doug McDuffie. Number 54, Scott Kohler. Starting at a forward, number 32, Tony Martin. At the other forward, number 34, Julius Denton. At center, number 40, Tim Bernard. At a guard, number 24, Brian Harrell. And at the other guard, number 42, Todd Anderson. And their coach, John Heaton. Your officials, Stephen Fisher and Larry Jones.
These two ball clubs met back on the 11th of January in Newcastle, with Shelbyville winning it 75-73. Tom, you were there.
Well, it was, as I indicated in one of the interviews, Newcastle had a 7-point lead, which was the biggest spread in the ball game. Shelbyville had a 3-point lead, which was their biggest lead. They wound up winning by 2. Rodney Haynes had 34 points in the ball game. And for Shelbyville, Todd Anderson was their leading point getter with 22. One of the big factors, J.D. Lux came off the bench to score 15 for Shelbyville in that one. He suffered a broken leg last Saturday night in the regional final. He's an important 6th man for Shelbyville, but is doubtful that he's going to be playing this afternoon, although he is in uniform.
Here are the matchups at guard. Thurman and Milliken at 22-2. Denton and Martin 23-5. 7-2 for Bousman in the middle. Barnard 9-1. Cody and Haynes at 28-9, and Anderson and Harrell at 29-9. So there's just not much difference in any of those categories, forward, center, or guard, as far as stats are concerned. The opening tip controlled by the Shelbyville Golden Bears. A couple of real hotbeds of basketball in the state of Indiana going after each other. And the rebound comes off to the Newcastle Trojans. 22, Rodney Haynes leads the club in scoring with an average of 24-5, and he has about 3.5 rebounds per contest also. Rebound inside, tapped away, fine play that time by Shelbyville's 34, Julius Denton. He's the big gun for the Bears. Rebound pulled off long by Rodney Haynes again. Took these clubs a little while to get settled down. Tony Hinkle made an awfully valid point at halftime. Tom, coming in here and playing basketball is unlike going anywhere else. Well, that's what all the kids growing up in Indiana look forward to doing, playing here at this field house. Even though we have Market Square Arena for the state finals, which is an outstanding facility, they love coming here. Great steal by Shelbyville, falling down but maintaining control of the Golden Bears. Trying to muscle his way inside is Anderson. Now here's Brian Harrell. Harrell with a 10-footer. First couple of points for Brian. Only 5 feet 7 inches tall. He's a senior with a 15.5 point per game scoring average and pressure just like the first game, Tom. Well, Shelbyville is going to use pressure, and they scored a lot of points, maybe as many as any team I've seen in a while, off of turnovers. An air ball that is saved, put back up and good by Rodney Haynes. Rodney getting his first couple of points on that air ball tossed up there. Tie ball game at 2. First time it has been tied, but I had a feeling this is one of those ball games that could be tied 20 times. We're a minute and a half into the first period. The winner here gets Warren Central for the right to advance to the Final Four. Good rebound that time by Tony Martin. He bounced it inside to Julius Denton, and Denton lost it, but a foul was called. It'll be on Shelbyville, and the finger of guilt toward, is that Rodney Scott? No, I think it's going to be on Todd Anderson. That's correct. Number 1 on here. We see Tony Martin goes low to Denton. Denton can't get the shot away as Milliken and Bousman really have him tied up. And Anderson fouls Cody away from the basketball. Ball is kicked away. Second game's going on elsewhere at Lafayette. It's Plainfield 20-5 against 19-5 Gary Wallace. At Fort Wayne Concord 20-5 against Michigan City Rogers at 22-3. Over in Terre Haute Floyd Central at 20-7 against 22-4 Southridge. You pick a winner. Boy, it's too tough for me. Shelbyville's in the zone this time down. Maybe a little matchup right now. They started out, looked like a zone. It's matched up man-to-man. Milliken missing. Rebound pulled off in the middle by Shelbyville. Out come the Golden Bears with Julius Denton in command. Good shuffle pass and a great hoop that time by Todd Barnard. Boy, did Denton do an outstanding job of getting that ball to Barnard. Well, Barnard is a real quick shooter. He gets the ball out of his hands very quickly. Newcastle against the press. Barnard is the top field goal shooter on this ball club. There's a baseline violation called against Newcastle. Good pressure again. Well, you have to throw the ball in from the designated spot. The ball was knocked out of bounds on this side by Shelbyville, and the man throwing it in assumed maybe it was after a basket, which it wasn't, and he took off from the spot. You can have a walking violation on an out-of-bounds play. A lot of people don't realize that. An offensive foul or a blocking foul? It'll be an offensive foul on Shelbyville. They'll tag Brian Harrell with number 1. Well, Harrell kind of got up in the air right here and didn't know what he was going to be able to do with the basketball, as you see, and he crashes into Nate Milliken. And Newcastle has the possession, looking to tie the ball game right here. Joel Thurman, starting forward inbounds, gets the ball to Cody. And here come the Trojans again. Here is Milliken off of the far side. The rebound, a foul called. Position on the rebound, but Tony Martin gets hit with his first foul for the Shelbyville Golden Bears, number 3 on the team.
There's the shot taken by Haynes. It kind of rims the hoop and falls off. Martin goes up for the rebound along with Milliken, and the foul whistled on Tony Martin.
2.5 minutes into the second game of the day. 4-2 is your score. Shelbyville out in front off of field goals from Brian Harrell and Tim Barnard. Rebound comes long into the hands of Tony Martin again. Nice bounce pass inside and a good feed back outside, and 2 points. Well executed. Julius Denton's first 2 points. Leads the club in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. And although he does not lead the club, he still shoots 52% from the floor. 6-2, biggest lead for Shelbyville. Now there is Denton again. And a whistle and a foul on Newcastle, Joel Thurman. That'll be the first on Thurman. And timeout will be taken by Newcastle. Sam Alford wants to talk it over. 4 minutes and 46 seconds to play. First period. Shelbyville out front by 4, 6-2.
You'll be the leader of the pack in a Pontiac. A Pontiac from the Pontiac pack.
The pack is back to heat up your street with Pontiac's front-wheel drive Hot Ones. Sunbird, sticker price to bring you in from the cold. Grand Am, this one sizzles with excitement. Pontiac 6000 gets you where you're going. Tells them you've arrived. Get Pontiac's front-wheel drive pulling for you at your Central Indiana Pontiac dealers.
The Pontiac pack.
In a minute.
When you're last in line for hot water, isn't it nice to know gas heats water twice as fast for half the cost? That's the gas advantage. Come home to the comfort of natural gas.
Rodney Haynes is a 3-year starter. He's the number 3 Newcastle scorer behind Kent Benson and Steve Alford with 1,295 points. Hit 34 against Shelbyville in the regular season, as Tom pointed out, a high of 37 this year. He's been over 30 points on 7 different occasions. We are back live in the white jerseys, Shelbyville's Golden Bears. In the green, the Trojans of Newcastle. Off the glass and good for Brian Harrell. Brian's second bucket. He averages 15.5 points a game, and now it is a scoreboard says 6. It should read 8-2. Maybe it does read 8, and one of the lights around up here. It should read 8-2.
It is 8.
6-point lead for the Shelbyville Golden Bears. Their biggest margin of the contest. Ball game was tied back at 2, so Shelbyville has run off 6 successive points. Halfway through period number 1. Milliken with the rebound. And Nate has his first 2 of the game.
Big rebound there for Newcastle. Shelbyville had kind of dominated their defensive board. Newcastle getting one shot, but Milliken got a big hoop.
Anderson, yes. Todd Anderson, first 2 points. Now 4 of the starting 5 has scored. Only Tony Martin has come up shy in the scoring column. Lead goes back to 6 again at 10-4. 3.5 minutes to play. Newcastle Trojans with the shot outside. The rebound down into the hands of Joel Thurman and back up. And good. His first 2 points. Lead pass quickly up court. Time by Tim Barnard. Tim's second bucket and his 4th point. So he's halfway to a scoring average of 9-1 already. 12-6 again, that 6-point lead for the Shelbyville Golden Bears. Jump ball. Great defensive play by Brian Harrell that time. Tommy came out of nowhere to tie up the intended receiver on that pass. Quick hands. Newcastle making a couple of changes in their lineup. They're going to bring in Brad Sidwell along with Jeff Stone, looks like. And going to the bench will be Bousman and Cody. Sidwell is 5'10", a junior. Stone is 6'6", a senior. 3 minutes to play, first quarter. Warren Central will settle in and catch the rest of this ball game on television, I'm sure, and find out who they'll play for the right to go to the Final Four at Market Square Arena next Saturday, and our cameras will be there all day long, beginning at 10:30 in the morning. Rebound and a foul. They will hit 22. Rodney Haynes with personal foul number 1. Tom, it's, as you look at this again, it seems like Newcastle's offense is kind of a perimeter offense, and they're having a lot of trouble getting down into the paint in there.
Well, Shelbyville's playing a lot of zone right now, and that's one of the reasons they can't get the ball down in. And that situation right there, Shelbyville demonstrated again their prowess off the defensive board, and Newcastle committing the personal foul.
Newcastle has had the score doubled on them, 12-6. Good position on that rebound. Again, it won't go the first time, but the second time is a blessing for Tim Barnard. Barnard now with 1,000 points. He missed the first one and stayed right with it. Time to take a look at it again.
Well, this is persistence. Barnard goes up and misses. Newcastle players can do nothing but foul him, and which they do as the ball goes in. And Barnard really off to a strong offensive start here.
Foul is on number 50, Donnie Bausman. That is the first on Donnie Bausman. And it will be number 40, Tim Barnard, at that free throw line. Last year, Tim averaged 8 points and 5 rebounds a game. This year, he's up to 9 points and 4.5 rebounds per game. Missed the free throw. And Shelbyville gets control of the basketball again. Down to the final 2:20 of the first quarter. Good position on the rebound, that time from Joel Thurman. Newcastle's defense is an active one. There's a walking violation right at the timeline.
Haynes wanted to make the pass so quickly. He knew where the offensive man was, but he couldn't get back down and under control quickly enough to do it, and took steps, but he had a good idea.
Shelbyville Golden Bears going from outside and picking up 2 more points from Todd Anderson. Todd now with 4 on a couple of field goals. Now that pressure again. The lead goes to 10 at 16-6. Biggest lead for either club in this contest. Rebound position inside beautifully again by Todd Anderson. Only 6 feet tall and starting at guard, but not afraid to go in amongst the tall timber. He will not get the foul, or not get the hoop, and the foul will go against Anderson. Yes. Oh, maybe not. No, go the other way. Take it again here. No, it is on Anderson.
Yes, Anderson's taking the ball inside, and boom, right there, he has a collision. And that's his second foul. And Shelbyville, with Lux not able to play here this afternoon, really does not have much depth. So foul problems could be a difficulty for the Golden Bears.
Sidwell and Stone have gone back out of the lineup for Newcastle, and the other players who were in there earlier are now back in that lineup. Bausman getting his first hoop.
Nice ball movement there by the Trojans as they got the ball to Bausman down low, and the 6'2" senior was able to connect. Anderson's going out of the game, and Teddy Holloway is coming in for Shelbyville.
First time we've seen Holloway, a junior at 6'1", averaging almost 4 points and just a shade over 3 rebounds per game. It is a 16-8 basketball game in the final minute 25 of the first quarter. Shelbyville out in front, missing a good position on the rebound, but a reach-in foul is called against Tony Martin. That'll be 2 on Tony Martin. And the 5th against the Golden Bears.
Shot is taken by Barnard, and a rebound on the opposite side. Holloway rebounding inside. Bausman controls it, and then Martin makes contact. And this is going to put Bausman into the free throw line.
Newcastle's shooting has improved somewhat. They're up to 4 out of 15. Shelbyville, on the other hand, is 8 out of 15, so they're over 50%. Here's Bausman. He's not much of a free throw shooter, only hitting 44% coming into the Semi-State. A minute 20 to play in the first quarter. 16-8 Shelbyville. Oh, nice movement and a good release by Brian Harrell. 3 field goals, 6 points. 16-8 lead. Rodney Haynes out front, blocked brilliantly that time by Tony Martin. And the rebound comes up to the Golden Bears. Here's Denton. Won't get the hoop, but will probably go to the free throw line as the foul was tagged on William Cody. Well, Shelbyville gets the ball out in a hurry, Tom Hession. They're not bashful.
One of the things about many of the South Central Conference ball clubs, and Shelbyville in particular the last few years, is they have lacked quickness. This is one of the quickest basketball clubs that Shelbyville has had over the last few years. Newcastle, on the other hand, as Sam Alford mentioned, their front line really lacks some of that quickness. And, of course, they're going to live or die by how Haynes shoots.
Julius Denton is 1 for 1 from the free throw stripe. Last year, Julius averaged 12 points. He's up to 16.5 this year. He also averaged 6 rebounds. That's going up to 8.5. And he's improved his numbers all the way along the line. 19-8. 11-point lead. That marks the largest number lead-wise for the Shelbyville Golden Bears. Newcastle will inbound beneath their own hoop. Joel Thurman will toss it in. 47 seconds to play, first quarter. Thrown away. I tell you get a normally aspirated game, if you will, where they're running at normal speed. It seems like they're going in slow motion out there after what we've seen the last 3 ball games.
Well, that's right. It's been a little slow-paced. Newcastle trying to get a good shot inside. I want to try and look at the Shelbyville defense the next time down and point out a thing or two.
Golden Bears have it on offense right now. Final 25 seconds and could conceivably be going for the final shot of the period. If they do, they got a good one. That's Tim Barnard. Barnard has 4 field goals. He's a top shooter on the club at 58%. Final 13 seconds of the period. We'll get to Tom's observations when we have a chance. Thurman's second bucket. And they toss it away, and Shelbyville will go back on defense now.
Well, one of the things that the Bears appear to be doing in their defense is using Tony Martin, the 6'3" player, on Haynes, or in that spot of the zone defense quite a bit. Haynes is 6'1", and he blocked a shot a moment ago against Haynes, and they're trying to match up a little bigger man, I think.
Beautiful outside shot from Rodney Haynes.
That time he was working against Harrell, who's only 5'7", as the quarter ends.
Second bucket for Rodney. You're right, Tom. That's the end of period number 1. It is 21-12. The Shelbyville Golden Bears lead the Trojans of Newcastle High.
After he's been elbowed, fouled, and yelled at, how does Wayman Tisdale fire up that famous smile?
Breakfast at McDonald's.
And right now, Wayman's smile is a full 100-point grin. Because with any breakfast sandwich and drink at McDonald's, you get
free hash browns.
Free hash browns with your breakfast at McDonald's.
Tell them McTiz sent you.
different.
Check us out.
Hills has more for ladies, like these famous name jeans, each an exceptional value at just $9.97. You could pay more elsewhere for Bonjour, P.S. Gaetano, or Rustler by Wrangler, but Hills price just $9.97 each every day. Just part of one of the largest selections of ladies' jeans anywhere.
A different kind of department store. You ought to be shopping Hills. Check us out.
Julius Denton's an all-around athlete, plays football, runs track, made the all-regional squad, and had 22 points and 13 boards against Columbus East in the regional. So they're going to have to get something out of Julius Denton today. Second quarter, Tom, 21-12 is the score. We're just getting underway. It is Shelbyville out in front. And to be quite honest, Tom, doing pretty much as they want to do offensively.
They moved Martin to the backcourt with Anderson out of the lineup right now.
Obvious foul as Shelbyville gets aggressive on the full court defense, and the foul belongs to Julius Denton. That'll be number 1 on him. Denton's the leading scorer, rebounder, tops the club in steals and assists. And he had 3 points in the first quarter. In that first period, Tim Barnard led Shelbyville with 8. Brian Harrell added 6. And for Newcastle, it was Joel Thurman and Rodney Haynes with 4 apiece.
Joel Thurman, the free throw shooter, is a senior, as are 4 of the starters for Newcastle. William Cody being the only junior starter, and Shelbyville started 4 seniors, with Tony Martin being the sophomore lone senior that's not started.
Had it third out inside and wouldn't stay, and the rebound comes out deep to Nate Milliken. Now Newcastle gets the open shot on the far side, and they have nothing but net. Rodney Haynes with a half a dozen. 21-14. It is still Shelbyville's lead. They've had it as big as 11. Denton
got it to him down low, and Shelbyville really offensively making some real money getting the ball inside as Tim Barnard slides into the
It was kind of funny because Julius Denton was helping one of the radio broadcasters down the way reestablish his equipment. He went sliding in there, and the remote amplifier came down on the guy's lap, and Denton's trying to help him put it all back in order.
Todd Anderson re-entered, replacing Holloway.
Into the middle, and a foul on Denton. That'll be 2 on him. A little less than a minute gone here in the second period. You just joined us. Where in the world you been? We had a great ball game in the opener with Warren Central winning it 58-48. And the Warriors have now advanced further than they've ever gone in the history of the school. They're down to the final 8 in the state. And they will play the winner of the Shelbyville-Newcastle game. Where at the end of one, it was 21-12 Shelbyville, now 23-14. Still, of course, the Golden Bears.
Shot that time by Milliken. Didn't give that one much of a chance to go in. Let's see what he does here.
Missed them both. And the rebound and a good save that time by Shelbyville's 24, Brian Harrell. So here come the Golden Bears looking for their 22nd win of the year against only 3 defeats. Long of the rebound. Johnny on the spot that time is Tim Barnard, who now becomes the first player on either club to hit double figures. He has 10. In a hurry the other way to Milliken. Takes it inside. Tapped in the sky and saved at long range by William Cody. Now they go back in the middle again, and it wouldn't fall that time for Bousman. And here come the Golden Bears again. 4-on-2 advantage on the break. And somehow they got it to go. Julius Denton with 7 points. Almost out of control, Tom.
That was a wild ride down the floor, and he got it off the glass, and it came through. That was a fortunate bounce of the ball.
You commented to Gary Jacob. He was on a roller coaster ride. That was a roller coaster ride individually for Denton that time. 27-14, a 13-point lead for Shelbyville. Bingo. Rodney Haynes. Rodney with 8.
Well, he gets his hand on the ball just right. The good rotation, follow through, a fine shooter.
Rodney is a 6'1" senior guard. Now playing defense against the likes of Todd Anderson. And the rebound pulled off by Bousman. They try to hurry it up court, and indeed they get it in the hands of Rodney Haynes. 5.5 minutes to go in the half. Out of the baseline, knocked out of bounds. Last year, Newcastle was 17-8. They lost to Muncie South in the regional championship game. Only 2-5 in the North Central Conference. Shelbyville last year 14-10. Losing to Center Grove for the opening game of the Columbus Regional, and they were 2-5 in the South Central Conference. Here is the steal. Here is Shelbyville with a bucket that would not fall for Brian Harrell.
Well, a strange inbound situation for Newcastle that time. The ball came in virtually to no one. Harrell was the first one there.
Sidwell is in the lineup at one of the guard spots. Has the basketball right now for Newcastle. Well, they got a rich tradition in performances, both individual and as a team. To the hoop and strong, Donnie Bousman. Bousman leads the club in rebounds at 7-9, so you know he's got some physical abilities. He's going to have to use them both offensively and defensively today.
He made a nice turn against the defender there very quickly.
Here's Denton. And Julius has 3 field goals in this period and 9 points in the afternoon. And the lead goes back to 11 at 29-18. 4:45 to play in the first half. Shelbyville is now, what in time? It's a 2-3 zone.
Right.
Milliken missing. And Denton is there to pick off the missed shot. He leads this club not just in scoring, as I mentioned, at 16-5, but in rebounds at 8.5 of all game. So he works both ends. 29-18, 4:19 to go in the first half. Denton, nope, but a foul. And that should send him to the free throw line.
Shelbyville really has not taken many shots that would be considered outside. They're always trying to penetrate, as Denton tries right here to do that. Milliken fouls him. Ball did not fall in, but Denton's going to be at the line to shoot 2. Another lineup change for the Trojans. They bring Mike Stein, a senior, in, averaging 3.2 per game. He's going to replace Milliken.
Julius Denton, 1 out of 2 from the stripe, both coming in the first period. 68% shooter. Entire Newcastle cheering section to the top of your screen, standing up as a group. Steve Alford, Sam's son, who's now an outstanding player at IU, is on the far reaches of the bench across the way, watching his former school go at it. And a foul on Shelbyville. On 24, Brian Harrell. That's 2.
Brian came to Shelbyville last year from Madison, Indiana, during the month of January of his junior year, and has been a real spark plug to the ball club. As Joel Thurman, who has missed his only free throw attempt, is going to go to the stripe. There's Joel.
6'2½" senior. 4 points, and as Tom mentioned, 0 for 1 at the stripe. Thurman had a high game of 23 against Pendleton Heights. He was named to the all-regional squad. He improved his average from 1.2 per game last year to 7.2 this year. And he now has a half a dozen points in this ball game. He shot 82% at the free throw line last year, down to 69% this season. It's a 29-20 basketball game. 9-point lead belongs to Shelbyville, the team with the basketball. Golden Bears in white. School colors are old gold and black. Newcastle in the green uniforms. Their school colors are green and white. Rebound came down and caught the floor. But Rodney Haynes is there to pick it up. 3:45 to play in the half. Still a 9-point lead for Shelbyville. They have not trailed. The game was tied at 2. That's the only tie so far. Once they got the lead, they've been very effective in protecting that and adding to it. Tipped away. Whistle, foul. Brian Harrell. That'll be 3 on him. We may get to find out here before long, Tom, how deep that Shelbyville bench really is. You mentioned that J.D. Lux is out and probably is not going to be able to play. Suffered a broken tibia. And you'll explain to our audience where the tibia is at halftime in the regional final against Bloomington South. If he does play, he'll play in pain.
Well, I watched him trot out here before the ball game, and it looks like there's no opportunity for him to play. And the personal foul situation could be real damaging to Shelbyville because the bench, particularly without Lux, who can play front court or back court, is hurting. And Rodney Haynes is going to have an opportunity here to add to his 8 points.
Harrell has gone out of the lineup with that third personal foul, and Teddy Holloway, who was in earlier, will return to the lineup. Haynes, top free throw shooter for the Trojans, 76%, has hit his first opportunity of the afternoon. He now has 9 points, 4 in the first, 5 here in the second period. Newcastle now 4 out of 7 at the free throw line of the second 8-minute session. They cut the lead from 13 down to 7 with 3:25 to play. Well, if that thing goes in, we're all going home. Good follow-up rebound by Teddy Holloway, who just came off the bench. He has his first 2 points of the game.
A lot of double clutching up in the air that time.
Julius Denton is a very active player on offense. We'll watch that next time. Here's a foul. It'll be against Teddy Holloway. I'm very impressed by Denton. Tom, his numbers are outstanding. As I mentioned, leading scorer and rebounder, but he seems to be all over the floor.
Holloway breaks for the man on the alley-oop there, Thurman, and as he came down, Holloway contacted him. Many observers feel that Denton is probably much like Jeff George in the first ball game. Obviously, in George's case, an outstanding #1 football player in the country as a prep. Denton probably a little better in that sport than basketball.
Joel Thurman connects on his 7th point. He's at 3 out of 4 from the free throw stripe so far in the ball game. Thurman says he wants to go to either Purdue University or Rose-Hulman, the engineering school, one of the tops in the nation over in Terre Haute. Substitution now, number 40. Nate Milliken coming back into the lineup, replacing Mike Stein, who was in briefly for the Trojans. Thurman again.
Newcastle has no player, at least looking at my score sheet, with more than 1 personal foul.
That is correct. Only 4 of those. We'll make it 5. 31-24, Shelbyville lead. Golden Bears with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the half. Not a particularly good shot that time by Anderson. Todd takes it back to the free throw line again. It is really physical into the hoop. And again, much like the first game, there are no giants in this ballgame. Good play, Donnie Bausman. But there is a lot of physical movement, bumping and shoving going on with the hoop. Tony Hinkle made reference to that in our halftime interview. He didn't like that, does he?
No, well, that's not what some of the people who have been around for a while think is basketball. It is a very physical game, as you've described it, and that's the way we see them anymore.
Yeah, what somebody said that basketball is not a non-contact sport. Dancing is a non-contact sport based on the way they play basketball today. You got to be tough to play
and dance.
Here is Anderson. Half a dozen points for Todd, and the lead goes back to 9. 1:55 to play in the half. Talk with Howard Kapp, the athletic director at Tech High School at halftime. Well, it's a good, strong move by Haynes.
Big basket right there for Newcastle. They were coming back in it, and Shelbyville went up by 9 again, and Haynes comes right back. He not only scores a lot, he gets big baskets.
He has a dozen points so far in this basketball game with 1:35 to play in the half. Rebounded once, finally twice by Barnard, and now here comes Newcastle again. Awfully important minute and a half here, I would think, in the first half for Newcastle.
It certainly is. Haynes got one last time. Let's see what they're going to do offensively here.
Remember what Connersville did in the final 4 or 5 minutes of the first half against Warren Central. They came from 10 down to go 2 ahead at halftime. Time will probably not allow Newcastle to do that, but they could sure make up some lost ground here. Here is Milliken inside. Yes, sir. Nate has only 4 points. He averages 15 a game. We're down to the final minute of the first half.
Newcastle smart right there. They're taking it inside, knowing that Shelbyville, plagued with fouls at the moment, can ill afford to really defend very aggressively.
Newcastle has cut a 13-point Shelbyville lead to only 5 with 45 seconds to play here in the half. Now we're down to 35 seconds in the half. And a foul. And on Rodney Haynes, that'll be 2.
That was a good one-on-one situation right there. And of course, the man with the basketball usually has the advantage because he knows where he's trying to take that ball, and Haynes had to react, and not much more Haynes could have done about it. And Anderson drew the foul, however, and will be at the line.
Todd last year averaged 12 points a game, and has kicked that average up to 14-4 this year. Todd Anderson had a career-high 29 against Bloomington South in the regional championship game. It's in both. Well, you know, Tom, once Shelbyville got into tournament play, we'll take a timeout here. 33 seconds to go in the first half. 34-28, 6-point lead for the Golden Bears over the Newcastle Trojans.
Thousands of Indiana farms are currently insured with Indiana Farmers Mutual Insurance Group, and with good reason. In fact, there are many good reasons, like dependable protection at a reasonable cost, top-flight claim service, and an up-to-date philosophy that anticipates the needs of the future, offering auto, home, farm, business, and crop hail insurance coverage with over 350 independent insurance agents throughout Indiana. Indiana Farmers Mutual Insurance Group, a tradition of quality since 1877.
I know my business, and when that business needs a loan, I need a bank with a strong business profile. One that knows it sometimes takes money to spread your wings, and where I can rely on not just one business specialist, but a whole flock of them. I need American Fletcher.
AFNB, the money, the attitude, the team for corporate lending.
I took the business advantage.
Tom, you think head coach Sam Alford might like to have that guy in the backcourt?
Well, the coach's son gets to sit on the bench, but he didn't spend much time there when he was playing for his dad.
Well, he had some sensational games on this floor in the Semi-State a few years back. That, of course, is Steve Alford, All-American out of Indiana University, who would much rather be playing basketball somewhere today than watching his dad's club go at it.
Yeah, he probably has played some
probably
already
today. You're right. Newcastle shooting 11 of 26 for 42%. Shelbyville hitting 16 of 32. That's right on the 50% mark. Final 25 seconds of the first half. And the Newcastle Trojans are down 35-28. I think I said 6 points. It is 7 points, of course. And a big bucket here conceivably for them. Now we're down to 10 seconds in the half. Joel Thurman with the basketball, trying to find some help. Comes off the other side of Milliken, had it knocked away by Barnard. With 1 second, it's good if it goes. It's way off the mark. And that is the end of the first half. Warren Central won the first ball game, 58-48. We're halfway through game number 2, and it is Shelbyville on top by 7 at 35-28 over Newcastle.
You be the leader of the pack in a Pontiac. Pontiac from the Pontiac pack.
The pack is back to heat up your street with Pontiac's front-wheel drive Hot Ones. Sunbird, sticker price to bring you in from the cold. Grand Am, this one sizzles with excitement. Pontiac 6000 gets you where you're going. Tells them you've arrived. Get Pontiac's front-wheel drive pulling for you at your Central Indiana Pontiac dealers.
The care and concern your Hooks prescription receives doesn't end with dispensing the prescribed medication. Even the container in which your prescription is placed is important. When needed, Hooks prescriptions go into special moisture and light-resistant containers to assure full potency. And child-resistant caps are provided unless you specify otherwise. Packaged and labeled just for you. From Hooks.
We like to see you smile.
After he's been elbowed, fouled, and yelled at, how does Wayman Tisdale fire up that famous smile?
Breakfast at McDonald's.
And right now, Wayman's smile is a full 100-point grin. Because with any breakfast sandwich and drink at McDonald's, you get
free hash browns.
Free hash browns with your breakfast at McDonald's.
Tell them McTiz sent you.
One of only a few select Indiana farmers to receive the coveted Master Farmer Award, Mr. Warren Harlan of the Terre Haute area knows that farming 1,800 acres isn't easy. And like many other farmers, he has a huge investment to protect. So he needs the very best in farm insurance and service. That's why he chose Indiana Farmers Mutual Insurance Group, insuring Indiana farms for over 100 years.
Indiana Farmers Insurance Group is a company that you can count on and depend on.
See the yellow pages for our independent agent nearest you.
We are back now at halftime with the score 35-28. The Shelbyville Golden Bears have that lead, as you see on your screen. They have led most of the way. At the various sectional, regional, and semi-state sites around the state, a lot of people don't realize that in each instance there is a school that is designated as the host school, and they are responsible for running that operation. Here at Hinkle Fieldhouse at the sectional, regional, and semi-state, that responsibility falls on this gentleman right here. It is Tech High School Athletic Director Howard Catt, now running this thing for the 14th year. Going to do it till you get it right? Is that how it works or what?
Well, we've tried it 14 times, I'll put it that way. But I personally want to thank all the people at Butler University, Bill Sylvester and his people, from the basement on up. They just lean over backwards, and they help to see that this tournament is really conducted like we want it conducted.
And how is that, Howard? What are your responsibilities? What goes on?
Well, we are in charge of all the ticket distribution, getting all the help, getting the police for taking care of out parking, and just the general overall management of this tournament. And I might say that I think the people of Connersville, we always look forward to Connersville people coming in. They're such good, solid sports fans, and they should feel that they had a very good season this year. The Shelbyville people, my land, Pat Rady was up here a few years ago, and we had an overtime with Muncie Central. You remember that one. Yes. And of course, with Warren Central now, we have, feels like it's a little bit of Tech there, because Ernie Metcalf, he was a former football coach at Tech High School, now our principal. And then Dave George is one of our coaches and an instructor at Tech High School. And it's just fantastic. Of course, I have a soft spot for Henry County, see. Newcastle is a suburb of Spiceland, Indiana, and they always come out in their green and white, and they really love basketball over in Henry County.
Now, part of your responsibility also, Howard, is to take care of the media. Of course, there are many of us, radio and television-wise, along the road down here.
I forgot that, and every year we take care of their assignments for where their working press area, and also for the radio people.
And you've had some great radio people in the past come through here.
Man, we've had some great ones. Looking back through the years, the radio people that have brought this ball game into the homes all over Indiana. I look back, there's Charlie Brockman, there's, of course, Tom Carnegie, Jim McIntyre, Gene Kelly, Joe Pickett, Mike Dunn, Sid Collins, and you've joined that illustrious group of people. And I'd like to say that Luke Walton, I'm going to tell you a true story. I sat over here one time with Luke Walton. I was right beside him, and he was announcing the game, and I was watching this ball game, and I began to wonder, am I watching the same game that he's announcing? Because he put stuff into a ball game that was just fantastic. Talked a mile a minute, and Luke Walton is another person that has just started the historic part of this Hinkle Fieldhouse. I would like today, with your permission, to say happy birthday to a couple dear friends of mine. I have a wonderful aunt, Markville, Indiana, Blonda Stickler, and she has meant so much in my life. And I also have another good buddy, and he has played on this floor, and he has had some barn burners on this floor during his coaching days. A good friend of yours and mine, Ernie Klein, and we hope that he's watching this game today because he has really had some great teams that performed in this magnificent building.
I got the word from a mutual friend of ours, Ernie Klein and mine, Joe, that we're going to play golf this summer. I'm anxious to get him out in the golf course.
That's good, and he'll be ready. He may cheat a little bit on you, but he'll be ready. Yeah.
Well, Howard, Cat, as always, the entire Channel 4 crew, not just Tom and myself, but everybody who works here. Man, we appreciate your cooperation, your help. Speaking for Dean McDowell, our director, we just simply couldn't make it without you.
Well, I tell you, I enjoy this part. I said a while back last week that next to the week of Christmas, this week the Semi-State always means a lot to me, and I think it does to you, too.
Oh, it does.
And my pleasure on being on this show.
Thank you very much, Howard. Howard Cath, the athletic director at Arsenal Technical High School, a marvelous man who just does a sensational job. At halftime again, that lead belongs to the Shelbyville Golden Bears. Tom Hession will join me, and we'll be back with the second half and some more comments of Tom in just a moment.
Not just a sale. With savings this big, it'll be a sellout. Tom Wood Pontiac Spring Sellout with 9.9% GMAC financing on hot new Pontiacs. Your choice of an 86 Firebird, Fiero, or Grand Am with air, just $94.88. After only $288 down, that's under $200 a month. An economical new Pontiac 1000, just $109 a month. Special GMAC finance rates save you hundreds. Special Tom Wood Sellout prices save you even more. During the Spring Sellout at Tom Wood Pontiac now.
Last season, Monsanto asked me to compare lasso herbicide with another grass herbicide. It was a conclusive study on popular corn hybrids. In 320 different replicated plots, we had good weed control with both products, but on the whole, Lasso showed less stress and yielded an average of 6.2 bushels more per acre.
Lasso, less stress, more yield.
With this research, I have no qualms about recommending Lasso. I'm convinced it can make more profit for the farmer.
I know my business. And when that business needs a loan, I need a bank with a strong business profile. One that knows it sometimes takes money to spread your wings. And where I can rely on not just one business specialist, but a whole flock of them. I need American Fletcher.
AFNB, the money, the attitude, the team for corporate lending.
I took the business advantage.
Different. Hills has more for ladies, like these famous name jeans, each an exceptional value at just $9.97. You could pay more elsewhere for Bonjour, P.S. Gaetano, or Rustler by Wrangler, but Hills price just $9.97 each every day. Just part of one of the largest selections of ladies' jeans anywhere.
A different kind of department store. You ought to be shopping Hills. Check us out.
Well, there you see the first half statistics for the Trojans and the Golden Bears. Shooting percentages. Well, Shelbyville, the only real obvious thing there that could be a factor. 33 shots to 27. 7 more opportunities than Newcastle. Free throw shooting, 6 of 10 as of 3 of 6 for the Bears. Rebounds, pretty close. Shelbyville started out with a big flurry. Newcastle came on a little better in the second quarter. Turnovers also pretty close at 7-5. So there was the statistics after the first 16 minutes of play in this afternoon's second game. And at West Lafayette in game 2, Gary Wallace, 8 points over Plainfield at halftime. The winner there would meet Anderson tonight. And we move right along to Terre Haute, and a real blowout in the first half at least. Southridge, one of the teams that performed in the Final Four a year ago, leading Floyd Central by 16. Evansville Memorial was the winner of the opener there. And also a very one-sided contest at Fort Wayne. Michigan City Rogers, with maybe as much pure talent as anybody left in this tournament, leading Concord, and that winner would meet Marion tonight.
Tom, let's briefly, we have about a minute here. Let's go back for those who may have missed the first ball game and talk briefly about that. Warren Central led at the first quarter, stopped 13-8, kicked the lead to 10 of the second quarter, but then about halfway through against the second quarter, Connorsville took complete command of the basketball game and led at halftime 26-24. I thought, perhaps you did also, that the emotion might carry Connorsville through the rest of the game because they really had a tremendous finish in the first half.
Well, I thought they did a pretty good job, and particularly that stage of the ball game, but really it breaks down. It was just too much talent
Exactly.
for Warren Central, and your emotions can take you so far, and a lot of good things like that. But eventually, unless the other team really falls apart, which Warren did not, you're going to have your hands full, and Connorsville did. I thought they did an admirable job against a very good basketball team, which I think people are now beginning to see that Warren Central really is.
Once Warren got back into the second half and got the lead, they kicked it to 8 points in the third period, led at the end of 3, 38-32. They stretched the lead to a dozen points in the fourth period and ended up winning it 58-48. That's the furthest along any Warren Central team in the history of this school has ever gone. They're in the final 8 right now. The individual scoring, Jeff George with 18, Craig Looper with 15, and Dwayne Futz with 13 for Warren Central. And Connorsville had just one player in double figures. That was Richard Henry with a total of 12 points. Now, the winner of that game, Warren Central, gets the winner of this ball game between Shelbyville and Newcastle. And Tom, even though it's close on the scoreboard at 7, it has basically been Shelbyville's ball game so far in the first 16 minutes.
Well, it has, but a big factor which shows in nothing that we gave you statistically is the personal foul situation with Shelbyville. Martin with 2, Julius Denton has 2, 3 on Harrell, and 2 on Todd Anderson. And the bench, as we've indicated, is hurting. Newcastle's front line came alive in the last 4 minutes of that first half, as we see by Joel Thurman being at the free throw line 5 times. He hit 4 of them. They had baskets from Milliken and Bousman in addition to that. So I think we're going to have a ball game here in this second half that's going to be very interesting. Shelbyville has brought the starting unit back with Harrell. Newcastle's going to begin with their 5 starters as William Cody's back in the lineup, and I think we're ready to go.
Off the bench for Shelbyville, Holloway scored 2 points. Stein, Sidwell, and Stone did not score off the bench for the Newcastle Trojans. Second half just underway. Newcastle missing, and the rebound pulled down out of there by Julius Denton. And here comes Shelbyville again. Lead pass simply too much for Barnard to handle. Barnard in the first half with 10 points was the top scorer for the Golden Bears. 9 out of Julius Denton. For Newcastle, they had Rodney Haynes with a dozen and Joel Thurman right behind with a total of 8.
Like Shelbyville's going to open with a 2-3 zone. Sometimes they match up after the first pass.
Nice move by Milliken. 8 now with a half a dozen.
We're going to see Coach Sam Alford want to take the ball inside with the foul situation as it is on Shelbyville, and they demonstrated that their first series.
Anderson missing, tipped up once, no good. Denton comes down with the rebound and scores. Julius Denton, I said it earlier, Tom, and I mean it. He seems to be a guy that's always at the ball, has a great 6th sense for that basketball.
Well, that's why he's such a great defensive back in football. He gets to the ball there also.
7-point lead again for the Shelbyville Golden Bears with a minute gone in the third period. Newcastle will simply have to shoot over that zone and hope for results like that from Joel Thurman, who becomes the second Trojan to hit double figures. He has 10. 5-point lead, 6:45 to go, third quarter. Rebounded by Milliken again. Good ball control by Rodney Haynes. Got it up toward Milliken. And he will hit the hoop, and he is fouled. Milliken now with 8 points, and we'll look at it one more time.
Good movement on the break here by Newcastle. They get that ball to Milliken, and Barnard fouls him up on the shoulder as he hits the hoop. And Milliken will have an opportunity to complete a 3-point play and tighten this game further.
Milliken had a high game of 33 against the Red Devils of Richmond. He was named to the all-regional squad. He's a member of the National Honor Society, and when he heads for college, will attend college majoring in pre-med. Converts the 3-point play. Nate, who had 4 points in the first half, has scored 5 in the first minute and a half of the second half all alone. 6:21 to play now, third period. The lead is cut to 2. At halftime, it was 7. Now it goes back to 4 as they get that baseline shot from Brian Harrell. 5'7" senior with a 15.5 per game scoring average, now with 8.
Shelbyville continues in the zone. There's a steal. Quick hands by Denton.
3-on-1. Scoop this side, going back to Denton. It won't go in, but he'll go to the line. And credit that play to Brian Harrell. He did a sensational job of keeping the ball from just going out of bounds to begin with. We'll look at it again. Watch Harrell, number 24 in white.
There's Denton with a basketball. He kind of underhands the ball really too far ahead of Harrell. All he can do is flip it back into play, and Denton was there, and foul committed by Thurman.
The Shelbyville Ball Club tied for first with Connorsville and Bloomington South at 6-1 in the conference. They have the most regular season wins, 17-3, since 1968. Head coach John Heaton says they've been very consistent throughout the season, and the defense has been very, very strong. Well, you've seen that in evidence today. Twin misses for Julius Denton, but he's got it again at the same spot. Still can't hit it. And the rebound to Denton, rebound to Martin, knocked out of bounds, and last touch by Newcastle.
Well, Rodney Haynes, the last man to touch the ball, as Tony Martin trying to battle Rodney for it. Bears will have the ball as number 10, Todd Garrison, comes in, replacing Sidwell in the lineup for Newcastle.
Sidwell going out with no points, no fouls. First appearance for Garrison, the 5'6" senior. Bingo. Todd Anderson. He is the third Shelbyville Golden Bear to hit double figures, along with Barnard and Denton. Todd now with 10. A little breathing space, 41-35. Not much, though. They close the gap somewhat with Haynes hitting for the 14th point. How about that? That is Brian Harrell with 10. Harrell, he's the guy that just made the save down on the other side of the baseline area down there. Good body control.
They've thrown long twice here. Barnard couldn't do anything with it last time, but Harrell took this one up and banked it in.
And the steal by Denton, and the regen is called on Nate Milliken. Second foul on Nate. Newcastle with the worst record of this particular foursome, but it's still a good record of 19-6.
There's a bounce pass that Denton just picks off, intended for Thurman, and just momentarily right after he picked it off, Milliken reached in and committed a foul. Second foul on Milliken. Second team foul against Newcastle here in the second half. 4:55 to play, third period. Oh, they ran Denton down inside, got the screen for him, and he missed the shot, and Milliken comes off with the rebound. Well executed, well designed play. Denton almost uncontested. Haynes, well, this kid can shoot the lights out. 16 for Rodney. 4 here in the third period. And Newcastle climbs right back into the basketball game again. 43-39 Shelbyville. Heavy traffic. That time Harrell got himself in trouble and really got away with a big break for Shelbyville that time. The foul was against the Newcastle Trojans. Well, this is the second time we've indicated that Harrell got up off his feet and wasn't really in a position to do much with the ball. Throws it back in, and then really it was kind of a fortunate situation for Shelbyville to come out as well as they are. The inbounds play is successful to Tony Martin. And that is Martin's first 2 points of the game. Tony averages 7 per contest. First time he's at the scoring column today with 4:10 to play in the third period. Air ball by Garrison, but put up and good by Donnie Bausman. Bausman's first score here in the second 16-minute session, a half a dozen on the day. Bausman, the most alert man under the basket. Everyone else watching for the rebound. He caught it and put it back up. Arrow missing on the floor. Mad scramble, jump ball. The arrow points toward Newcastle. No, I'm sorry, points toward Shelbyville. So the Golden Bears will maintain control in the alternating possession. There, of course, is the head coach, Sam Alford, a graduate of Washington High School and Franklin College. He's been an athlete, won 14 varsity letters in high school, 10 in college, little All-American in '64, averaging 21 points a game, and led the nation in free throw percentage at 91%, which may be one of the reasons that his son Steve is such an outstanding free throw shooter. Here's Harrell. Can't get it. Good position on the rebound, but it got free at the bottom of the pile, and Bausman came out with it. Here is the ball being kicked away by Shelbyville. It belonged to the Newcastle Trojans. Kurt Bell out of Manchester and Larry Meyer of Ball State are Sam's assistants on the far sideline. Good defensive play by Barnard. Yeah, you had to come over the top. You're always in danger maybe being whistled for a foul when you do that. Newcastle retains possession. A little Garrison's come in here with a little spark in the backcourt. Not bashful, is he? He took that one shot that came out to be an air ball, but they left him open and he took it. There he is right there. 5'6" senior, less than 3 points per game average.
That's the guy they want to have the basketball, Rodney Haynes. They quickly double up on him, and he got the roll anyway. Haynes has 18 points. 6'1" senior with a 24.5 point per game scoring average.
Good soft shot by Haynes, and always has a chance to go in. You don't have to hit dead center to get a basket.
They've cut the lead down to 2. Not anymore, though, because Julius Denton has just added 2 more for Shelbyville. He's up to 13 now. He will also go to the free throw line on the foul with a chance to convert the three-point play.
Well, it's pretty typical, like Newcastle goes to Haynes, Shelbyville goes to Denton when they have to have the basket, and he takes it very strong to the hoop. Gets it off the glass, and it comes in, and I believe Milliken was the man that was whistled for the foul, and that's his second, or his third, we have, yes.
Shooting-wise for the Newcastle Trojans, they're hitting 18 out of 34, and Shelbyville now hitting 22 out of 46. So Newcastle's over 50%, and Shelbyville right there knocking on the door.
Milliken went to the bench with his third foul, and Mike Stein, making his second appearance, is in the lineup for the Trojans.
Julius converts the three-point play. Now with 14 points, only 2.5 shy of his scoring norm. A timeout will be taken with 2:58 to play in the third period. Got a good ball game going. Shelbyville at front by 5.
After he's been elbowed, fouled, and yelled at, how does Wayman Tisdale fire up that famous smile?
Breakfast at McDonald's.
And right now, Wayman's smile is a full 100-point grin. Because with any breakfast sandwich and drink at McDonald's, you get
free hash browns.
Free hash browns with your breakfast at McDonald's.
Tell them McTiz sent you.
You'll be the leader of the pack in a Pontiac. Pontiac from the Pontiac pack.
The pack is back to heat up your street with Pontiac's front-wheel drive Hot Ones. Sunbird, sticker price to bring you in from the cold. Grand Am, this one sizzles with excitement. Pontiac 6000 gets you where you're going. Tells them you've arrived. Get Pontiac's front-wheel drive pulling for you at your Central Indiana Pontiac dealers.
Earlier we were talking about the effort turned in by Shelbyville in the tournament. Look at the lopsided scores they came through here with. Tom, you followed this ball club throughout the tournament. Was it really that easy?
Well, it really turned out to be that easy. The Bloomington South game was a real surprise by 20. Columbus East was a close game starting the second half, but the fourth quarter became a real blowout as Shelbyville scored 53 points in the second half of that one.
The impressive postseason, or at least tournament, numbers turned in by the Golden Bears. Pretty close shooting on the part of both ball clubs.
53% to 48%. Newcastle percentage is a little better. The turnovers, not very many for either club. Newcastle 9 to Shelbyville's 5.
Joel Thurman got the last hoop for the Trojans. That pulled them back to within 3 points again at 48-45. Here's Anderson. And the rebound comes down into the hands of Donnie Bausman. Now here comes Newcastle again. A chance to get as close as they've been in a while. The blocking foul will be against Newcastle. Basket will not count. I'm sorry, will be against Shelbyville. And climbing off the deck will be 24, Brian Harrell.
Well, Haynes makes a good move back inside, and Harrell adjusts a little late, turns his chest into him, and picks up his 4th foul. A big foul as Holloway is in replacing Barnard, but I don't know how long Barnard's going to sit on the bench with Harrell on the floor with 4 fouls.
John Heaton has made a call down further on his bench to one of the young men to come and sit next to him, and I would assume he'll be coming in momentarily. It looks like it'll be Jason Heaton, and if that's true, it'll be the first time we've seen Jason. Here is the steal, quickly out of the pack. Offensive foul will wipe off the hoop by Julius Denton, and that'll be 3 on Julius Denton.
No basket here. Denton is going to take it against Bausman. Denton moves to the outside, comes in, Bausman in position, and the charging foul call. The ball went in the basket, but it will not count.
The fans simply don't understand the rule. Those that are booing that call, that's not a judgment call. Basically, that's just a rule. You commit the foul and you make the hoop, you don't get down to the floor, then that's going to be a foul on you, and no bucket. First time we've seen a miss by Haynes in a while. Good steal and a good hook by Donnie Bausman. Bausman now with 8 points, and he's playing much more aggressively here in the second 16 minutes.
Well, he was in the right spot. Denton went high for the rebound, and then moving the arms around, just dropped the ball, and Bausman picked it up and alertly laid it back in.
Shelbyville had a 13-point lead in the second period. They were up by 7 at halftime. With 1:35 to go in this third period, they're up by only 1, 48-47. And the tempo has slowed down another notch, Tom.
Well, the teams are a little reluctant now to make the mistake. These are teams that try not to beat themselves. Other teams don't worry too much about it. But Shelbyville, knowing that they can't go to their bench, I think this is dictating a little bit of their play.
Well, Warren Central's a good contrast to this whole thing. They're going to make the errors, but they're going to be of commission rather than omission.
Right.
And they're going to get the job done, they feel, one way or the other. Todd Anderson worked till he got the hoop. He has 12 points now. And it goes back to a 3-point lead for Shelbyville with exactly a minute to play here in this third period. Garrison is the point guard coming off the bench. He won't score very much for you. He's just out there to run the ball club. He has the ball right now at the top of the circle, calling for the ball, as a matter of fact. Rodney Haynes got it inside. Turnaround shot, no. Here's Bausman, lost it, couldn't hang on. And out comes Tony Martin again. Numbers are not good on the break, 2 on 3, so he wisely holds up for the final 32 seconds of this third period.
Garrison and Heaton make a nice match there. Garrison at 5'6" and Heaton at 5'7".
These are your watch charm.
They sure are.
Guards. Heaton, by the way, is indeed the son of the head coach of the Shelbyville club. 5'7", junior. Now we're down to the final 10 seconds. I'm not real sure that Todd Anderson realizes that. Here is Heaton. 6 seconds. 5. Nice pass. They got it inside and got the bucket from Denton. Great pass from Jason Heaton to Julius Denton, who has 16 points, and we've gone through 3 periods. The bucket's going to count. 8 more minutes to go, and a 5-point lead now for Shelbyville. 52-47 over Newcastle.
Hooks wants to help you stay active and fit for life. That's why Hooks dependable drugstores carry Futuro Elastic Health Supports and Sports Braces. Futuro's full line of support aids provides temporary help with sacro braces, knee and elbow supports, even Futuro's sheer support pantyhose for tired legs. For your active life, look to Hooks for Futuro's complete line of health supports and sports braces.
We like to see you smile.
It's hard to save money, but I do it. So I deserve to have it count for more at a bank that will keep it safe under its wing. One that'll help it grow with high interest. And always keep a lookout for even more and better ways for me to save. I deserve American Fletcher.
AFNB, more ways to save and earn more.
I earned the savings advantage.
The road wasn't quite as easy for the Newcastle Trojans. Winners over Blue River, Knightstown, Tri-High in the sectional. Newcastle Regional, big win over Yorktown. Tough battle with Greensburg. And now here they are up against Shelbyville. And they're shooting. Newcastle is hitting 20 out of 38 for 53%. Shelbyville now with 24 of 49 for 49%. Newcastle, Tom Hession, has only 4 players that have scored in this ball game. Here's some other scores.
10-point Wallace lead over Plainfield. That's after 3 quarters.
William Cody at guard has not scored for the Trojans. They need some help from some places. This young man has played super. Bausman missed that one, though. And the rebound and a foul, and I believe it'll be on Bausman. And that's too bad for him because he did a good job in getting to the hoop that time. For Donnie, that's personal foul number 3.
Well, he really did do a nice job. He got up there and left it a little short. And always when you go up the second time, the other man has had an opportunity to get inside of you, and this is what happened. And Denton was the man inside, and he'll be at the line. Denton has really had some problems. There you see Shelbyville coach John Heaton and his bench, and Brian Harrell sitting alongside of him, looking at the clock, knowing he has 4 fouls and wondering when he's going to get back in the contest.
Steve Drake out of Marion, David Hunton of Franklin, Gary Hamner of Indiana Central, and Mike Hobbs of IU are John Heaton's assistants. John's in his 3rd year, won 7 sectionals in his career. Spent 4 at Eastern of Greene County, a couple of years at Southwestern, and a dozen years at Silver Creek. Denton knocks a couple of them home. Julius now with 18 points. He's played really, really well today. Spread those points out throughout much of the game. 3 in the first, 6 in the second. Added to 7 more in the third. Now 2 here in the fourth period, which is just 20 seconds old. Haynes couldn't get it. Here comes Shelbyville again. Todd Anderson lets the traffic clear, moves it back out to the guard spot. Here's Denton at a forward position, playing out high.
I think the foul situation is dictating what Shelbyville's trying to do offensively. They're trying to use some of the clock each time down, with Harrell having to be on the bench right here.
Anderson. And back out long range to Denton. At the same time, Tom, I would assume they don't want to lose the momentum that they build up to this point of the game either. Off the mark, back up, right on the numbers for Julius Denton. Well, when you're a good player, it's amazing how many times you're in the right spot at the right time. And a timeout will be taken by the Newcastle Trojans. 6:47 to play in this basketball game. It's back to a 9-point lead by Shelbyville.
In a minute.
When you're last in line for hot water, isn't it nice to know gas heats water twice as fast for half the cost? That's the gas advantage. Come home to the comfort of natural gas.
Thousands of Indiana farms are currently insured with Indiana Farmers Mutual Insurance Group, and with good reason. In fact, there are many good reasons, like dependable protection at a reasonable cost, top flight claim service, and an up-to-date philosophy that anticipates the needs of the future, offering auto, home, farm, business, and crop hail insurance coverage with over 350 independent insurance agents throughout Indiana. Indiana Farmers Mutual Insurance Group, a tradition of quality since 1877.
Little peek into the Shelbyville Golden Bears cheering section. We mentioned they were unranked at the beginning of the season. They finished up number 14 in the AP poll, number 15 in the United Press International poll. Newcastle, unranked at the beginning of the year, unranked at the end of the season, but they have played extremely well. They are now 22-3 in tournament play over the last 3 years. When it gets tough, they get going. Trite, but true. 56-47, Shelbyville. They've led most of the distance. In fact, they've never trailed. The game was tied at 2. That's the only tie of the contest. And since then, it's been all Shelbyville as far as the leads are concerned. Thurman can't get it. Rebound came out long over the head of Donnie Bausman, and Shelbyville has it again. Now we'll see, Tom, if they stay with that, not really a slowdown, but about a 3/4 speed offense.
I think really what they want to do is just use some time. I'm not saying they want to freeze the ball, but just use time.
Anderson is the guy they like to have the basketball in the hands of. He's done a good job. Here we go with Denton. Well, he just split the seams and picked up his 22nd point.
It's not bad having it in his hands.
Yeah. They will give it to Anderson and let him give it to Denton.
Right.
The lead is at 11. Shot comes up short, down to the hands of Teddy Holloway. Well, Shelbyville is in a position right. This is a critical situation now, and a foul called on Newcastle and on William Cody. Second on William. Newcastle is in real trouble right now, Tom, potentially trouble of getting themselves in a hole too deep to climb out of.
Yeah, Cody, I'm not sure what he was trying to do right here. He comes up real close to Anderson, who still has his dribble. And then when Anderson swings back the other way, Cody bangs into him, and Todd's going to be at the free throw line.
Couple of subs for Newcastle. 34 Mike Stein, 44 Brad Sidwell. Both have played earlier in this game.
Well, the unusual thing, however, is that Rodney Haynes has gone to the bench, maybe just to get a little rest to come back these final 5 minutes or so.
Todd Anderson, quarterback on the football squad, named to the all-regional team this year, has picked up a couple of free throws, and Todd now has 14 points. His average is 14-4. 5.5 minutes to play in this basketball game. In the middle they go to Milliken. And Nate with 11. He is the third Newcastle player to hit double figures. They get it back up court in a hurry, though, and Tim Barnard has his dozenth point. 12 now to Tim. And they stepped on the baseline, tossing it in. Well, when it rains, it pours.
Well, Coach Sam Alford is very upset. He hasn't had any success in getting the man back. He took Bousman out in the first half a couple of times because they were throwing long.
Now, wait a minute here. Okay, he made a substitution. He had 6 players on the floor for a break.
Yeah, he was having an informal timeout over there, I think.
He had them gathered around, didn't he?
Well, this has been a critical time period. He wants a timeout, and I'm not sure he has had it.
Is he asking for it or not? The official standing at midcourt.
The official has called it. As far as I can tell, he's going over to the bench.
Whoops.
Larry Jones.
Well, wait a minute. Did he call it?
He says, yes, there is a timeout.
He has called a timeout. I don't know if Sam called it or the official called it for him, but
there may be a question now as was timeout called before the inline violation in throwing the ball in down here.
Well, we'll find out. A number of the Warren Central students have left the cheering section. If you look across the way and see some holes up there. The girls gymnastics state finals are today at Perry Meridian High School, and Warren Central's team has a shot at the team honors. They will be running free fan buses between Hinkle Fieldhouse and Perry Meridian, which is down on the south side of the city. Homestead won the title the last 3 years, so the true sports fans at Warren Central today, Tom, are going to get worn out. And I also wanted to mention the wristbands on Shelbyville. Maybe you can tell the story better than I about this young man named Ronnie Downey, who was the former student manager of the team until the end of the regular season. It's a fascinating story. I read in the paper an article by Joseph R. Kahns, I believe his name, into the Star yesterday, Indianapolis Star. Apparently, Ronnie has been living with his sister on their own after their father left to seek work elsewhere. He was taken in by an uncle in Kentucky, and the Shelbyville community chipped in to raise money to fly Ronnie up for today's basketball game. And that's what those black wristbands are. They're in a reference to the honor they're paying to their former student manager, Ronnie Downey. And that's what sports is all about, really. So if you've seen those wristbands and wondered why, that's what the story is.
A shot of the Shelbyville crowd, and of course with this lead they're a little more exuberant right now, although they've been pretty much in the ball game all afternoon, as have the green and white of Newcastle, and they apparently have the largest crowd here as Anderson takes steps.
Shelbyville shooting now 51% from the floor. Newcastle at 47%. And time is eventually going to become a major factor in this contest. 5 minutes to play here in the ball game. Newcastle has made some inroads, but now they are down 62-49, and they're going to be down some more. The stepper by Terry Holloway, and that just explodes the Shelbyville crowd. 64-59. Shelbyville's biggest lead in the game. An air ball saved and thrown back in off of the leg of Teddy Holloway. And the Trojans will toss it in.
There are the turnover statistics as we're in this final period, nearly halfway through it, as Anderson commits a foul.
On top, number 3. Yeah, the Newcastle record over the years has just been phenomenal. This is their 13th time in the Sweet 16. They've been to the Final 8 times, Final 4 4 times, Final 2 once, and they won it in 1932 under Orville Hooker, beating Winnemac 24-17 for a record of 28 wins and 3 losses that year. Of course, they've had Mr. Basketballs, Kent Benson in 73, and Steve Alford in 83, and Jerry Lamberson won the Trester Award there in 71. So it's a rich school in tradition as far as basketball and other sports is concerned. Nate Milliken, 13.
Dave Milliken's done a very nice business-like job here this afternoon. He shoots the ball well, good fundamental technique.
Tony Martin got the ball to Holloway, and Holloway scored his 6th point. And a foul.
Foul is going to be on Sidwell, who got underneath. As Holloway has come off the bench here to really excite people with a couple of scintillating plays. There he goes up. The foul whistled on Sidwell. The ball went in.
Teddy Holloway transferred in this year, and he injured his ankle late in the season. Sure couldn't tell the way he's played here in relief. Holloway missing. Denton rebounds. Jump ball. It'll stay with Shelbyville. Not Denton, but Martin.
Yeah, this ball game has been a little bit. There's a score that looks like it's not a final, but I think the issue has been settled.
Pretty much settled. You're right. 66-51 here. Has the issue been settled at Hinkle Fieldhouse? We'll see. We have 4 minutes and 15 seconds to play. The Warren Central Warriors, 10-point winners earlier today over Connorsville, will be in tonight for the right to go to the Final Four. Anderson got himself in trouble and got out of it all right. Out to Barnard. Kicked away. Warren Central's won consecutive football championships at the 4A and the 5A level under Terry Stauffer. And now Gary Jacob, in his first year as the head coach, will try to take him to the Final Four. And they'll be back tonight, and our telecast begins at 8 o'clock here on Channel 4. Tom Hession and yours truly, Jerry Baker, with the coverage for you. And there will still be seats available here at Hinkle Fieldhouse tonight. May I suggest you get a chance to come on out. Because like Tony said, there ain't nothing like coming to Hinkle. 3:52 to play. Shelbyville leading by 66-51. They've led throughout most of the game. In fact, they've never trailed. Now this is their biggest lead. Yeah, a little game of keep away here. And a foul. Reaching in, Brad Sidwell. Now, Tom, you wonder if maybe this will be the point in the game where John Heaton might want to, even though the bench maybe is not as strong as you would like to, look at John and the gang over there, maybe want maybe a couple of minutes to give some of those guys some playing time, let them feel what it's like, and maybe give the guys a couple of more minutes of rest.
Well, it's going to get down under 2.5 minutes, I would say, before he decides to do that, and depending upon what the score is at that time.
Missed shot by Anderson. And here comes Newcastle again. Sidwell won't get it, and a foul is called on Holloway.
You know, you can go back to communities in Indiana today that have had tournament experiences and talk about some coach who got his starters on the bench, saving him for the next ball game, and wound up losing that one. And that's no way a coach wants to go. So I think Coach John Heaton wants a timeout right here, try and decide what they're going to do in these final 3.5 minutes as they're leading by 15.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do here. Well, we have a moment with 3.5 minutes to go in the ball game, and Shelbyville up by 15. Let's thank the people who get together every time we do one of these telecasts to make this baby possible. Our executive producer, Michael Davis. Our senior producer, no less, Bob Caldwell. Today's game was produced and directed by Dean McDowell, who's done an outstanding job throughout the season. Unit manager today was Bob DeLong. Our air control operator, Mike Davenport, Mark Longerbone. Technical director, Mike Pope. On cameras today, Diane Jurocek, J.R. Reynolds, Marlon Miner, Nelson Hastings, Dan Gaines handled the audio for us here this afternoon and this morning. Our video engineers were Ken Houchin, Mike Mettert, Harold Reidner. Again, another job of outstanding expertise from those guys. Slow motion replay, Dickie Blair. Floor director today, Bob DeLong. He worked his fanny off, trying to find Tony for one thing today. Statistician, John Osler, Gary Ross. Electronic graphics, Susie Reese. And, of course, again, our thanks to Mr. Howard Camp, the tournament director and the AD from Tech High School. We've got to get Howard to be a little more outspoken.
Well, he just won't say anything.
He won't open up, will he?
In front of him.
He is a character, and I'm telling you, boy, he does a great job making this baby work here at Hinkle Fieldhouse. 66-51, 15-point margin for Shelbyville. Newcastle will try to
predecessor did that for a lot of years. Now, do you remember who that was?
Howard's been here 14 years. Was that Blackie?
Charlie Dagwell.
Oh, Charlie Dagwell, okay. And he was here for a century and a half,
Charlie
too.
Spent a lot of years in the head of the athletic department at Tech High School. Sidwell missed 2, Jerry, and that hurts when you're trying to come back.
It is 66-51. The only 4 points in this fourth period have come from Nate Milliken on a couple of field goals. Shelbyville again spreads the floor a little bit. They'll take the opportunity if it presents itself, and Denton is one of those guys who can do that. Jump ball. It'll go the other way now. Newcastle's possession. They've had the ball in the hands of Todd Anderson a great deal, and the only thing Todd has really done wrong, what I can see, Tom, is he's run himself down in the corner a couple of times and got in trouble down there.
Well, we have a couple minutes to go at Lafayette. It's still a contest, 50-41. Wallace leading Plainfield.
Larry Bullington's done a good job with that Plainfield squad this year. 3-on-2, deflected away, last touch by Nate Milliken. So it looks like it'll be Shelbyville and Warren Central for the right to move to the Final Four. And of course, when we come on the air tonight at 8, we'll have the matchups at the other 3 sites. And we'll put Tom on the spot at that point in time and see who he thinks might make it down to Market Square. One thing for sure, Tom, with the 16 field that we had, we're going to have a good Final Four. That's for sure.
Well, it'll be a competitive tournament, I would feel. Games probably interesting to watch, whether you're there in person or watching here on the Channel 4.
And our network will cover the entire state of Indiana next week, so wherever you are, you'll be able to find us. 66-51, 2 minutes, 35 seconds to play. Newcastle still working hard. And a steal by Milliken and a foul on Denton. That is the 4th on him.
I don't know how many fouls Shelbyville has been whistled for in this second half, but not very many. That must be the 5th, I believe, after really looking like they might have some problems.
Yeah.
Here's Harrell with 2.5 to go in the ball game, back in the contest, replacing Holloway.
Yeah, that's a good point, Tom, and one we shouldn't let slide by, maybe, because at halftime, I think you and I agree that Shelbyville's problem, even though they were up at the time 35-28, might come from the foul